हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम बैक टू जैकलिट एजुकेशनल चैनल। आई होप यू ऑल आर डूइंग वेल। आप सबका एग्जामिनेशन का प्रिपरेशन सही चल रहा है। सो हियर इन दिस वीडियो आई हैव ट्राइड टू टेक 5 important very frequently asked question in the UGC NET environmental science paper. So this will be in the form of table, in the form of charts, so it will be very helpful in the examination. Make sure you have note so that you can note down, and without much delay let's get started. So we'll start with the atmospheric stability conditions, and these are very important as you would have seen from the previous question. So here I will tell you that first three things you should remember. DALR means dry adiabatic lapse rate, SALR means saturated adiabatic lapse rate, and ELR means environmental lapse rate. So here we will know one by one. You should note down all these things because they are very frequently asked. They can be asked in the sentence form or they can be asked in the equation form also. So let's start with the first thing, that is the absolute stability. So in this case the notation or the formula will be when the case is dry adiabatic lapse rate is greater than saturated adiabatic lapse rate and saturated adiabatic lapse rate is greater than environmental lapse rate. So this is the sequence: DLR greater than SALR greater than ELR. Next thing is absolute instability. So in this case what happens is the maximum is with the environmental lapse rate followed by the dry adiabatic lapse rate and then the least is saturated adiabatic lapse rate. So this will be the sequence: ELR greater than DALR greater than SALR. Next thing is conditional stability. So in this condition what happens is environmental lapse rate is in between dry adiabatic lapse rate and saturated adiabatic lapse rate. So here the maximum will be dry adiabatic lapse rate and the least will be saturated adiabatic lapse rate. Next thing is wet neutral condition. So neutral is having two parts, that is two condition: wet neutral and dry neutral. And in case of wet neutral the notation will be dry adiabatic lapse rate is greater than saturated adiabatic lapse rate which is equal to the environmental lapse rate. That is saturated adiabatic lapse rate यहाँ पे will be equal to the environmental lapse rate. Next is dry neutral condition. In this case what happens is the notation will be DALR will be equal to ELR, that is environmental lapse rate, but the environmental lapse rate will be greater than saturated adiabatic lapse rate. And finally extreme stability condition will be there in which our ELR, that is environmental lapse rate, will be in negative. So this condition is the condition of temperature inversion. So inversion is the situation in which the pollution is very least. Why? Because above part of the atmosphere will be hot in condition, higher temperature, and the below part of the atmosphere will be cooler in condition. So as a result what will happen, the parcel of air, that means the parcel of air pollutant we are talking, so it will not move upward because hot air will always move to upward, but here what happens is in the lower part it is cold, so that's why the polluted air will be not going upward. So the condition will be very stable, that is extreme stability condition where ELR is negative. So these 6 are very important. Let's move to the next very frequently asked question. So this question are asked on the basis of the composition of natural gas, बायोगैस एंड लैंडफिल गैस. सो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये टेबल भी आप बना लीजिए, अदरवाइज आई विल सेंड दिस इन आवर टेलीग्राम चैनल, सो यू कैन check there in the description the link for the telegram group. So starting with the methane. So methane, you should remember, it is having the highest percentage in volume in all the three gas. Yes, 91% almost in natural gas, 55 to 70% in biogas, and 45 to 58% volume of methane is seen in case of landfill gases. But you should remember about the second most important gas in all these three categories. Yes, where ethane is the second most maximum gas in case of natural gas composition, and in biogas the second abundant per volume will be carbon dioxide gas, that is 30 to 45% is the constitution. Next thing is landfill gas. Landfill gas में second highest will be again carbon dioxide, that is 32 to 45% approximately. Now some other thing you should also note down is that in case of natural gas we can see ethane, but in biogas and landfill gas ethane is not seen. Similarly it is also same for propane, butane and pentane, which are not found in biogas and landfill gas, but in case of natural gas they are found in certain low percentage. Coming to the next thing, that is nitrogen content. The question was asked that which is having the maximum nitrogen content. So among the three the maximum will be of natural gas, which is 0.32% of the total volume of gas, followed by the landfill gas, then followed by the biogas. Next thing you should note down that volatile organic compound. Yes, volatile organic compounds are found in case of landfill gases but not in case of natural gas and biogas. Similarly, hydrogen, very important gas, it is also not seen in case of natural gas nor in case of biogas, but the trace or very less amount, less than 1%, is seen in case of landfill gas, that is the hydrogen volume. Next thing you should know that parts per million, three things you should remember. Hydrogen sulfide is maximum in case of biogas, then the second is maximum in landfill gas, and least in case of natural gas. And ammonia, it is seen in case of biogas, not in case of natural gas or landfill gas. It is very less or around 0. Next is carbon monoxide, very harmful gas. So it is found in case of landfill gas in the trace amount, but here in biogas and natural gas it is approximately 0% seen. So I hope you have written down all these things. Let's move to the next very frequently asked question. Next thing is about the classification of rocks. Yes, the questions are asked in case I will tell you how they are asked. So we all know that rocks are classified in terms of sedimentary, igneous and metamorphic rocks. So here what happens is the chemical and clastic and biological are the sub-classification of sedimentary rocks, in which the clastic categories includes conglomerate, breccia, sandstone, siltstone, mudstone and shale. So it is important, note down all these things. Next, the chemical category subcategory under sedimentary rocks includes limestone, dolostone and evaporites. So the question was once asked in the NET exam, evaporites are under which category? They are under the chemical category of sedimentary rocks. Then biological category or biologic category of sedimentary rocks includes coal and chert. So next, coming to the igneous rock, this also we should be knowing that intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks. Intrusive igneous rocks includes gabbro, diorite, granodiorite and granite, whereas extrusive igneous rocks includes basalt, andesite, dacite and rhyolite. Next is the important thing I would like to say, that is the metamorphic rocks are also subdivided into foliated and non-foliated category. So no need to go through these all deeply, just remember the name that foliated category includes slate, schist and gneiss, whereas non-foliated categories includes marble and quartzite. So this is very important also, very frequently asked question. Some of the examples will be asked. Let's move to the next frequently asked question. Next thing is the process or steps in the degradation of organic material through anaerobic digestion. So it is specifically about anaerobic digestion. These steps are very important. First of all, you should note down, it has been asked that what is the sequence. Correct sequence will be in the anaerobic digestion of organic material. First will be hydrolysis, next will be acidogenesis, third will be acetogenesis, and the last one will be methanogenesis. So you should remember like this, that genesis means formation. So you'll know one by one. Hydrolysis, breaking down of water. So lysis of water, breakdown of water, in which what happens is the manure categories such as carbohydrates, proteins and lipids, they are hydrolyzed into small soluble organic molecules which are sugars, amino acids and fatty acids, and in which what happens is acidogenesis takes place. This process to produce what? To produce acid. Yes, genesis means formation, formation of acid. That means these compounds, sugar, amino acids and fatty acids, they are converted into alcohols, carbonic acids and volatile fatty acids. Next step is acetogenesis. So acetogenesis means the formation of acetic acid. So how it is formed? From these three components, that is alcohol, carbonic acid and volatile fatty acid, they give rise to acetic acid, as well as hydrogen, carbon dioxide, NH3, NH4 and hydrogen sulfide, that is H2S, can be formed. And similarly, from these three compounds, these are the components which can be directly formed. They are hydrogen, carbon dioxide, ammonia, NH4 and H2S. And the last step is methanogenesis. Methanogenesis means formation of methane. यहाँ पे methane का production होता है, formation होता है, last step होता है. So from these elements, these compounds, they combine to form methane, the major product, along with that carbon dioxide. So I hope you are able to understand this process. Very simple 4 step. hydrolysis होता है, acidogenesis, acetogenesis and methanogenesis. Let's move to the next very frequent last question in the environmental science NET examination. So this is about the thermodynamic system classification. So the questions are asked, for example, the question will be asked, what is an open system? The options will be given where both energy and mass are able to cross the boundary, where only mass is able to transfer, where only energy is able to transfer. So you should know all these things in order to answer this question, and it has been seen very often these things are asked. So starting with the open system. Open means, from the word you can say it is very open, so both energy as well as the mass can cross the boundary of the system. For example, this is the system, so from here the material or the mass it can cross, as well as the energy will also cross, because it is an open system. Next thing is closed system. So here in case of closed system, what happens is mass does not cross the boundary, so it is closed, so mass will not cross, though energy may do so. So energy can cross the boundary of the system, but mass cannot, not at all, cross the boundary of the system in case of closed system. Next thing is isolated system. Isolated system is the system in which neither mass nor energy can cross the boundary of the system. So most often students are confused between closed system and isolated system. They will think that in closed system both the things will not cross, but it is not the case. In case of isolated system, both mass and energy cannot cross, but in closed system mass cannot cross but energy may cross. So these were some of the very frequent last question. I have tried to make it very simple for you in the short note types. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. Make sure you have subscribed the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification icon so that you will get the notification as soon as I upload any video. And yes, you should join our Telegram group, Learn for the Environment, for the daily quizzes, notes and several other tips for the examination. So see you guys in our next video. Till then, keep smiling and believe in yourself.